suppliers. So supply chain is not purely a commercial relationship as it is in most other companies. We actually have an arm within supply chain called Supply Industrialization Engineering. And the burden of taking a drawing, a design from concept and turning it into thousands of products produced at the right cost and at the right yield falls with this group. Of course, they work very closely with design engineering. But really, the level of detail that our engineers get involved in terms of building the capability of the suppliers is pretty detailed. So, once we get a new part, naturally, with electric vehicles, a lot of the supply chain doesn't exist. Our engineers would basically take the drawing, turn it into a manufacturing concept, do the equipment selection, and physically go to the supplier and stay there for weeks or months, however long it takes, to basically do the line bring up. Once the line is brought up and we're hitting the right rate, the right quality, at the right yield, then we work on things like automation and yield improvement and those types of activities. So there's a big group of mechanical, electrical, industrial, you name it, engineers within supply chain, and it's their responsibility to take care of this. Now, this is a huge strategic advantage because we manage every detail of our supply chain, because we're so integrated with our partners that we know about issues before they happen. It's almost live. We've got dashboards, we've got connections, and across the 10,000 or so factories across the world that are making our components, we have a pretty good view of the health of those suppliers, and this has been a key asset in how we've been able to kind of manage things through a lot of different issues over the past couple of years. So, supply chain is a game of perfection. Perfection is a passing grade. It's like if one part doesn't show up, that line goes down, and our CEO finds out about it in less than 20 minutes. Tesla is very different than Apple. They outsource manufacturing, we do it in-house. So supply chain is kind of right in the middle. And perfection is increasingly elusive and very expensive if you kind of look at all the issues we've had to encounter over the past year. And today we're just going to talk about how we got through the past, and then what are we going to do going forward, and how are we going to get there. So let me draw your attention to this slide. On the left, you'll see a portfolio, our existing portfolio of products. Right at the top, you've got the S and X platform. In the middle, you've got the 3 and Y. I think everyone's more than familiar with those. And then the Tesla Energy platform, which is a very high rate of growth for us. And
don't forget the solar and supercharger.
And solar and supercharger. Thank you, Roshan. And you'll see a reduction and then we basically got the tier 1 and tier 2 parts. This might be boring, but a tier 1 supplier is any supplier that builds and supplies parts directly for consumption in our 5 factories. And our tier 2 supplier basically does the same thing for a tier 1 supplier. So they are the supplier to our supplier. And depending on the supply chain of any one of these products, this can actually go down to the tier 6 level. So for example, if you're talking about the battery cell, we really get involved with the mines of like where we're procuring the lithium, the cobalt, and all that sort of stuff because we're procuring such high volumes of it. So you'll see a reduction in the number of parts on the S and X platform to the 3 and Y platform. And this is because of the great work our design engineers have done of making the car simpler and easier to manufacture. In parallel, we actually had a similar strategy in supply chain. We had cast a wide net to a lot of suppliers for the S and X platform. There was a lot of suppliers that we invited to partner with us. And we used that platform as sort of a filter to see which suppliers have the technical, financial, and cultural capabilities to match us, right? Who do we invite to the party when we really scale things up? And we really dramatically reduced the number of suppliers that we were dealing with for the 3 and Y platform, and this is an approach we'll continue to do for future platforms as they come along that are even more high volume. So this has really been our approach. It's made things a lot easier, and we could figure out the suppliers that were capable of moving at our pace, and then the ones that didn't have the desire to or the capability to. You need both desire and capability. Secondly, the complexity on the tier 2 level is very high, right? These are the suppliers to our suppliers, and there are a lot of components. So think about silicon, think about resistors, capacitors, diodes, all the little assemblies.
All the raw materials.
Raw materials, that's even further down.
Yeah.
But all these little sub-assemblies that have to come into Tesla, the complexity is immense. So